Welcome to my channel. My name is Leo Alvarez, and for most people I'm exactly what they expect, a 29-year-old junior architect with a quiet laugh, a neat haircut, and a drawer full of well-pressed shirts. I have a tiny, tidy apartment above a bakery that smells like warm bread in the mornings and a desk by the window where I stack blueprints and coffee rings. I show up on time to the office, I sketch the right lines, and I say the right things at meetings. I am efficient and careful and very good at hiding the parts of myself that feel messy. There is another side to me that lives in the dark of that same apartment after the lights go out. It is not dramatic or sudden, it is a slow ribbon of truth I've been tying around myself since I was a teenager. At home, when the city hum dies down, I pull out soft things. A skirt folded neatly in tissue paper, a vintage blouse that smells faintly of perfume, a pair of heels that glitter at the edges. I call it cross-dressing, but it feels like a deeper, wordless preference. When I slip into that second skin, my shoulders drop, my voice warms, and my face rearranges itself into a person who has always been waiting to breathe. Some people think this kind of life splits you into halves. For me, it has always been a steady negotiation. I dress to feel whole, not to perform. Sometimes it's quiet, safe, and carefully private, and sometimes it is electric and reckless. I have never told anyone who knows me at work. The risk is not only that they would judge me, but that they would reduce me to a single oddity and stop seeing the layers I have worked for years to show them. Then there is Isabella. Isabella is not a woman of things half done. She is all color and motion and contradictions. She keeps houseplants that cascade from shelves, she drinks espresso like it's oxygen, and she laughs in ways that tilt the apartment and rearrange the furniture. We met at a gallery opening 6 months earlier, when a painting went missing, and she accused me with theatrical certainty of stealing it. I retaliated with a sarcastic apology, and somewhere between the wine and the argument she kissed me. Now she's my girlfriend and the worst and best part of my life. Isabella knows how to name the things I won't. She calls me stubborn when I refuse to admit a mistake, and she calls me brave when I do. She is the sort of person who plagiarizes other people's courage and wears it like a dress. With her, I learned that love can be a high wire with a safety net that is sometimes only a rumor. She has friends who crash on our sofa and a laugh that draws neighbors into conversations through thin walls. She wants honesty in the blunt way gardeners want sun. She will trim anything that grows crooked. Which is to say, she is both my harbor and my danger. The apartment where our story begins is a modest 2-bedroom with plants on the sill and a mirror in the hallway. When Isabella works late at the art collective across town, I tell myself that it's the perfect time to be myself. It feels private and safe, and like a confession I whisper only to the floorboards. Yet I never quite let myself relax. There is always the low hum of the building, the faint possibility of footsteps on the stairs, the thought that at any moment she could come home and everything would fray. My job as an architect matters because it built the scaffolding of my control. I spend days making plans that keep buildings upright and nights testing which parts of me can stay standing. My colleagues think of me as reliable and slightly reserved. They do not know that on Saturdays I practice walking in heels on the carpet over and over, counting heartbeats and testing balance. They do not know that my blueprints sometimes fold into patterns of lace I tuck away in a drawer and hide under pens. There are reasons I keep this secret. My family is the polite kind who equate dignity with a steady job and a respectable girlfriend. My mother asks too many questions about promotions, and my father sends links to business articles. They do not ask whether I feel like a stranger in my own skin, because that question is heavy and small talk is a shield. Friends are complicated too. I have a buddy from college who would probably laugh and forget, and a coworker who would be curious for a week then move on. It is easier to play the role that is expected of me than to explain a life that sometimes bends in ways that make other people uncomfortable. But Isabella complicates the math. She is not a woman who tolerates secrets, and she is not a woman who will simply accept whatever I hand her without examining the stitches. When she told me once that she wanted honesty like sunlight, I believed her. I also believed that I could keep some shadows. Minor ones that felt safe. One rainy Tuesday she surprised me by announcing she was going away for a weekend with an artist she was collaborating with. "It's all booked," she said a little too brightly. "A creative retreat. They'll be discussing installations and color theories and terrible coffee." She kissed my temple and left a stack of postcards like proof of her absence. I should have felt relief. Instead I felt a careful, strange thrill. The apartment would be mine alone for 2 entire nights and 3 mornings. 2 days of absolute privacy in which I could breathe differently. My secret life had rituals and rules. First I always waited until she was gone. Then I turned the world soft by dimming the lights and playing records that felt like permission. I unboxed a dress I had been saving. A deep blue skirt that curved at the waist and flared like the tilt of a swing. I put on makeup in precise strokes, testing how different the angles of my face could be when softened by shadow. I tied a ribbon in my hair and laced up shoes that clicked on the floor like the ticking of a clock. It is in those first moments when the dress settles and the mirror becomes an accomplice that I feel both like a discovery and like a thief. There is a rush of recognition and an ache of fear. The thrill comes from being seen by my own eyes for once, and the fear comes from the knowledge that everything could be undone in a single knock at the door. That night, as I adjusted the hem and felt the fabric settle against my skin, I imagined 100 endings. I could fold everything away and go back to my neat shirts. I could let Isabella find me and have the truth spill like water between us. I could be brave and tell her before she returned. Or I could sink fully into the person in the mirror and pretend the rest of the world was a rumor. Something else exists in me as well. A stubborn hope that Isabella, if she ever saw me like this, might not run. That instead she might tilt her head and see me for both halves and not choose one. It is a dangerous wish, because people are not paintings one can reinterpret at will. They have edges and textures and histories that catch on fingers. The introduction closes on the small ordinary detail that will later become much larger. A single photograph of Isabella on the bookshelf taken during a summer fair where she wore a red scarf and looked as if she owned the sun. I place the photograph face down on the coffee table because facing her image while I change feels like an accusation and a benediction at once. I am careful and reckless and full of thin resolutions. Outside the rain thins and the city breathes. Inside the apartment, 2 lives orbit each other like planets on the brink of collision. I stand in the mirror and make a choice to stay a little longer, to feel the skirt swing and the heels click, and to hold, for a fragile moment, a version of myself that no one else knows. The coming days will test the seams I thought were steady. The first outline has placed Leo Isabella and their rhythms on the stage. The atmosphere is charged and the question hangs in the air, like the last note of a song. What if she comes home early? What if she sees? What if she loves? The first night of Isabella's creative retreat was supposed to feel like freedom, but the moment I closed the apartment door behind her, something felt sharper in the air. A kind of trembling excitement that made my hands buzz. I stood in the hallway listening to the echo of her footsteps fade down the staircase, each step like a countdown. When the sound vanished completely, silence settled over the apartment. A dangerous, permissive silence. I walked into the bedroom, the place where both versions of me lived, and opened the drawer beneath my shirts. My pulse jumped. The soft rustle of tissue paper felt louder than it should have. My fingers brushed the skirt I had been saving, the navy one with the gentle sway that made me feel right. My throat tightened. Every time I did this, there was a moment during which I questioned everything. Should I stop? Should I fold this life away forever? But the moment would pass, brushed away by a stronger ache, one that whispered, "You deserve to breathe." I laid the outfit on the bed carefully, piece by piece, as if assembling a secret identity. The navy skirt with the smooth lining. The white blouse with delicate pearl buttons. The soft bralette. The sheer tights folded like fragile light. The black heels that made my calves look different. Shaped, elegant, foreign and familiar all at once. The last item was a wig box I kept hidden inside an old printer box under the bed. A silky, shoulder-length brunette wig that framed my face in a way that felt like déjà vu. I wasn't wearing anything feminine yet, but my body already hummed with anticipation. I reached for the skirt first. The moment the fabric slid up my legs, that quiet familiar thrill cracked open inside my chest. My breath caught. The waistband settled perfectly against my waist, smoothing into place like it had been waiting for me. I stood straighter. My reflection in the mirror still looked mostly like Leo, but a softer Leo, a rearranging Leo. As I buttoned the blouse, each small click felt like a step deeper into forbidden territory. The pearl buttons glowed softly under the lamp, their shine brushing something tender inside me. When I pulled the tights up, slow careful tug, then smoothing them against my hips. A shiver traveled up my spine. A mix of vulnerability and power. I inhaled deeply, steadying myself. Then came the heels. Every time I slipped them on, something in me shifted. The angle of my hips changed, my stance narrowed, my center of gravity rewired itself. I had practiced enough that I could walk gracefully, but the anticipation of that first step still made my stomach flutter. I took a step. Click. Another. Click. The sound filled the apartment like a confession echoing off the walls. I wasn't done yet. I sat at the vanity, originally Isabella's, now shared by both of myselves, and began the process that always felt like transformation and betrayal at once. Foundation. Contour. Mascara. A soft pink lip that made my mouth look fuller, gentler. With each brushstroke, the tension inside me thickened, like something both fragile and unstoppable was unspooling in my chest. I felt exposed even in the empty apartment. The air felt warmer against my skin as if the room itself was reacting to the change. Then, finally, I slipped the wig on. When the strands settled against my shoulders, my breath faltered. There she was. Not Leo. Not fully another person. But a version of me that lived in the spaces I never let see daylight. My heart pounded. I stood and took a slow walk toward the full-length mirror in the hallway. The heels clicked, the skirt swayed softly, the wig moved with every breath. I reached the mirror. I froze. The person staring back at me was someone I recognized and didn't. My jaw looked softer under the contour, my eyes warmer. The skirt hugged my waist, the heels shaped my legs, the blouse draped elegantly. I touched the mirror lightly. A small, stunned whisper left my lips. This is me. And then the fear hit. What if Isabella came home early? What if she had forgotten something? What if a neighbor knocked? What if something fell, or I tripped, or the window was open? The possibilities clawed at me, but the thrill was stronger. The thrill always won. I walked back into the living room, moving slowly, savoring the dangerous freedom. The skirt swayed with every step. The heels clicked like a timer counting down. My breath sounded too loud. I picked up my phone. A message from Isabella lit up the screen. I say, just boarded the bus. I'll text you when I reach the cabin. Be good, face blowing a kiss. My stomach twisted. She had no idea that being good meant the opposite of what she imagined. I typed back something normal, something safe, and put the phone face down. I spent the next few minutes walking through the apartment in full feminine form. Touching the back of the couch. Brushing my fingertips along the picture frames. Turning in circles in the center of the living room to watch the skirt fly slightly. It felt intoxicating. But it also felt like I was slowly winding a spring inside myself, each movement adding tension that had to snap eventually. The suspense wasn't from danger yet. The suspense came from knowing danger could arrive at any moment. And oh, it arrived sooner than I expected. I was doing slow laps around the dining table, heels clicking softly, when I heard something. A sound. Very faint. Like a footstep in the hallway outside. I froze mid-step, heel half raised, breath locked in my throat. The sound came again. A soft scrape. Someone was outside my apartment door. My blood turned to ice. I looked down at myself, at the skirt, the heels, the wig, the makeup, and my heart slammed against my ribs. Please don't knock. Please don't knock. Please don't knock. The doorknob rattled. I nearly screamed. I staggered back, clutching the edge of the table for balance. Another rattle. Someone tried the handle. Not a knock. Not a call. Someone thought they could walk in. My legs trembled in the heels. My breath came in small frantic bursts. I stepped backwards too fast, my heel slipped, and I caught myself on the wall, the mirror in the hallway rattling dangerously. If it fell, if it broke, if they heard, if they came in. The doorknob turned again. And then, a voice. A familiar voice. A neighbor. Leo? Hey man, you home? I think your mail got mixed into mine. My heart almost stopped. My voice wouldn't come out. My throat was too tight. I stood there in full feminine form, lipstick, wig, skirt, heels. only one thin door separating me from someone who saw me every week in the elevator. Silence hung in the air. He waited. And then he said the words that nearly killed me. "It's unlocked, I'll leave it inside." The world collapsed. Unlocked. I had forgotten to lock it behind Isabella. The door began to creak open. The neighbor's voice on the other side of the door still echoed in the hallway when everything inside me collapsed. The door creaked, slow, inevitable, final, like the beginning of a disaster I couldn't outrun. I grabbed the wall for balance, the heel trembling beneath me, the wig shifting as my breath turned sharp and painful. The skirt brushed my legs like a reminder of how trapped I was inside my own fantasy. If he comes in. If he sees me. If anyone sees me. But something stopped him. A second voice. A woman's voice. Soft. Firm. Familiar. "Wait, don't go in. I have the key." My blood froze. Isabella. No. Impossible. She was supposed to be on a bus. Hours away. Why was she here? Why did she have someone with her? My heart slammed so violently against my ribs that I thought the blouse buttons would burst. I stumbled backward, nearly slipping on the hardwood floor. My heel skidded. My palm slapped the wall. The mirror shook once again, threatening to fall, threatening to destroy me with a single crash. The voices outside lowered. My breath quickened. Sweat prickled my temples beneath the wig. And then the nightmare deepened. A male voice answered her, low, unfamiliar, casual. "You sure he's not home? His lights are on." He. Not she. A man. Isabella had brought a man. My vision pulsed. The skirt clung to my waist like a trap. The tights felt suffocating. The makeup on my face suddenly burned. I pressed myself against the wall. My legs trembled so hard the heels clicked against the floor even though I wasn't moving. Through the door, Isabella's voice turned cold, smoother than I'd ever heard it. "He won't mind if I check. He said he needed space tonight." A pause. "And I wanted you to see something." Something? See what? Me? Did she know? Did she plan this? The doorknob turned. Slow. Purposeful. Too quiet for someone who thought the apartment was empty. The door opened. Just an inch. Then another. The air pressure in the room shifted, cold hallway air sliding in. My knees nearly buckled. I stumbled backward into the hallway, the skirt swaying, the wig sliding slightly. If I made a sound, if I breathed too loudly, if she saw even the shadow of a heel, I was finished. The crack in the door widened. Isabella stepped in first. I heard her shoes, flat soles, soft, controlled. She didn't call my name. She didn't ask if I was home. She knew. Behind her, heavy boots stepped inside. A man's. Firm. Confident. I scrambled silently toward the bedroom, hands shaking, trying to keep the heels from clicking. One wrong step would echo. But fate didn't care. My heel caught on the edge of the rug. I fell forward, arms out, body tilted, a gasp escaping my lips. A real, unmistakable gasp. The sound echoed through the apartment. Everything froze. Outside the bedroom, Isabella inhaled sharply. Leo. My heart stopped. I pushed myself upright, my wig slipping off-center. I grabbed the vanity for balance, my lipstick smudging as my wrist brushed my mouth. I can't hide. I can't run. I can't change back in time. Footsteps approached, slow, cautious, deadly. The door to the bedroom opened. Isabella stood there. Her eyes widened, not with confusion, but recognition. As if she had pictured this moment long before it happened. Her gaze swept over me. The navy skirt hugging my waist. The heels shaking beneath me. The blouse stretched slightly across my chest. The wig slipping sideways. The pink lipstick smeared. The mascara glistening. The terror in my eyes. She didn't scream. She didn't gasp. She didn't flinch. She just stared. Like she had discovered the final piece in a puzzle she'd been assembling quietly for years. Behind her, the man stepped forward, broad-shouldered, sharp jaw, dark hair. He stopped when he saw me, stunned. Isabella. What? Who? She lifted a hand to silence him. Her focus never left me. Leo, she whispered, voice trembling with something I couldn't read. Why didn't you tell me? My throat closed. Isabella, I can explain. She stepped closer. Can you? Her tone wasn't angry. It was worse. It was controlled. Measured. Almost rehearsed. I stumbled backward, the mirror behind me vibrating with the force. The wig slipped completely, dangling crookedly. I snatched it, ashamed, shaking. Please, please don't look at me. She walked toward me, slow, deliberate, until she stood so close I could feel her breath. Leo, why didn't you tell me? She repeated, softer now. Then she reached for something behind her. A bag. A large, black bag. She set it on the bed. It unzipped with a slow, dragging sound. Inside. Clothes. Not just clothes. Women's clothes. Skirts. Dresses. Heels. Makeup. Wigs. Jewelry. Dozens of items. Some new. Some familiar. Some mine. Some not. My head spun. I knew, Isabella whispered. I knew long before tonight. And I tried to wait for you to tell me. I gave you space. I watched you hide pieces of yourself, and it hurt. Tears stung my eyes. I didn't want to lose you. She blinked. For a moment, something soft flickered in her expression. Then the softness vanished, replaced by something else. Something far more dangerous. You weren't going to lose me, she said, voice tightening. But you weren't honest with me. You let me believe you trusted me. You promised we didn't keep secrets. The man behind her stepped closer. Isabella, what is this? She didn't look at him. Instead, she spoke to me. Leo, this is Marcus. He's the person I talk to when I feel like I'm going crazy. When I feel like I'm living with someone I don't really know. The words hit me like a slap. Marcus looked between us, confused. Isabella, is this why you asked me to come? Because of him? Because he wears? Because he hides, she corrected coldly. Because he lies. Because he thinks he has to be ashamed of who he is. I shook my head, tears streaming. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Isabella's voice cracked. I didn't want you to be sorry. She reached into the bag, pulled out a skirt. A soft blush-colored one. New. Tags still on it. She held it out. For you. Marcus looked stunned. You're encouraging this? Isabella laughed bitterly. No. I'm demanding honesty. I'm demanding trust. And if Leo wants to dress like this, she gestured to my shaking, skirted form, then he should do it where I can see him. Where he can't hide. Where he can't lie. My stomach tightened with fear. Isabella, what are you saying? She stepped so close our faces nearly touched. Her whisper was ice. I'm saying you don't get to choose when you're her. I froze. What do you mean? She lifted the skirt closer. Her eyes locked with mine. From now on. A pause. A slow smile. You wear what I choose. My breath shattered. She continued quietly. You want to dress like a girl? Fine. But you'll do it honestly. Openly. Fully. I shook my head, trembling. Isabella, please. She cut me off. You will wear skirts whenever you are home. Her voice sharpened. No exceptions. My knees buckled. Marcus exhaled sharply. Isabella, this is extreme. She ignored him. This isn't punishment, she whispered. This is truth. This is you. And I'm not letting you run from it anymore. She pressed the skirt into my hands. Put it on. I stared at her. At Marcus. At the mirror. At myself. Now, she whispered. My hands shook as I lifted the skirt. I felt the world closing in. My chest squeezed. My breath hitched. I stepped into it. Slid it up my legs. The fabric settled around my waist like a sentence being passed. Isabella watched every second. Marcus looked away, uncomfortable. I felt the humiliation burn through my veins and something else, something darker. Relief, maybe, twisted with fear. She stepped behind me, adjusting the waistband, smoothing the skirt over my hips, positioning me in front of the mirror. Her voice at my ear was barely a whisper. "This is who you are." I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe, couldn't move. Then Isabella leaned in. Her next words were quiet, cold, unavoidable. "And from today forward, you wear skirts forever." My breath stopped. My reflection blurred through my tears. Behind us, Marcus shifted, unsure whether he should stay or leave. And then, a sound. A loud, sharp sound. A phone buzzing. Isabella's. She looked at the screen. Froze. Her face drained of color. "No," she whispered. Marcus stepped forward. "What is it?" Isabella swallowed hard. Someone sent me a video." Her fingers trembled as she tapped it open. A video loaded. My heart started pounding again. She hit play. And the sound of heels clicking echoed from her phone. A view of me. In my skirt. In my heels. Walking through the apartment. From behind. From above. Recorded secretly. From the ceiling corner. A hidden camera. A camera I never knew existed. I nearly collapsed. Marcus's eyes widened. "Isabella, who filmed this?" She whispered, shaking. "It's coming from inside the apartment." The video zoomed. Focused on my face. Clear. Undeniable. Trapped. Her voice trembled. "Leo, someone else knows." The phone buzzed again. A new message. A new video. A new angle. A new threat. Isabella covered her mouth. Marcus stepped back, terrified. I stared at myself on the screen. Exposed, vulnerable, no escape. And then a final message appeared. "Unknown, if he wants to wear skirts, I'll make sure he never stops." The three of us looked at each other. The apartment suddenly felt too small. Too dark. Too watched. My transformation wasn't a secret anymore. It wasn't even mine. And whoever recorded me, they weren't finished. The phone buzzed one last time. A new message. A single line. A countdown. "I'm coming upstairs." Isabella's face drained. Marcus backed away from the door. I staggered, legs shaking under the skirt. Someone was coming. Someone who had been watching. Someone who wasn't knocking. Someone who didn't care about being caught. The footsteps echoed in the hallway outside. Slow. Deliberate. Getting closer. 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 The doorknob turned.